shadows where the stories rise. Gangsta's paradise where truth never lies. Tune in deep, feel the drama unfold. Real life tales, bold and untold. In the shadows where the stories rise. Gangsta's paradise where truth never lies. Tune in deep, feel the drama unfold. Real life tales, bold.
What up, though, fam? Welcome back to another cautionary tale that's as deep as it is dark. Today, I'm heading to the Midwest, Columbus, Ohio, or some may call it Cap City. It's known as the biggest small city in America, a place where everyone seems to know someone, and the community fabric feels tight-knit. But beneath that familiar skyline, beneath the veneer of everyday life, there's a shadowy world few ever truly see. For about 10 years, at least according to what's been reported, one man sat at the very top of that world, Papa Joe Maurice Williams. The name alone commands attention. The Kingpin whose grip stretched across the city and beyond. Tonight, I pull back the curtain on his reign. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. Support GPTV1 by grabbing some merch from the GP store or bless the Chime or Cash App if you're rocking with the movement. Your support means the world. Now let's get into it. Papa Joe wasn't just any dealer. He ran the Brittinay Hill Posse, moving hundreds, maybe even thousands of kilograms of cocaine into central Ohio. His route stretched all the way from Detroit to Atlanta, down to Houston. Shipments came in every shape and size, concealed vans, semi-trucks, and even cars with secret compartments designed to fool anyone watching. A sophisticated network built to bypass detection at every turn. The Houston connection, that was a lifeline. Just from that alone, it estimated Papa Joe's outfit moved at least $5 million worth of cocaine in a single year. To put that into perspective, for 3 decades, he's been the biggest name in the game around Cap City. 30 years of dominance, a ghost in the machine of the streets, always a step ahead. But beyond the numbers and the headlines, there's a larger story. A man whose name shadow loomed large. Often his disciples were young guys from tough backgrounds. Just like him, his father was killed by police and his mother struggled with drug addiction, according to court records. Papa Joe's own story was etched in hardship, a narrative many of these young men saw reflected in their own lives. They tended to idolize him, the strapping, charismatic ex-jock. He once was a promising high school basketball player, living a life they aspired to. He offered them not just opportunity, but a perverse form of belonging, a blueprint for power in a world that often felt powerless. Reflective, world-weary, with a deep understanding and a touch of lingering respect for the game and its players. This is my era speaking. The 80s, a different time, a different kind of hunger. You saw it brewing in the decaying heart of Detroit, the sun-baked boulevards of LA, crews forming, rising like shadows in the concrete jungle, and often falling just as fast. Young men carving out their empires block by block, corner by corner. It was raw, unrefined, about survival, then about respect. Every city had its kings, its whispered legends. They wrote the blueprint, even if they often ended up caged or gone. The game was evolving, but the core was always the same: control. Then came the 90s. The game got bigger, slicker, more sophisticated. We saw outfits like BMF start their rise, turning street hustle into a corporate entity. Almost. They weren't just moving weight, they were moving culture. They redefined what the life could look like. It was aspirational, dangerous as hell, but damn, did it shine? But while the big names were making headlines coast to coast, something else was brewing, away from the bright lights in places like Columbus, Ohio. This was my era, my slice of the game. And in Columbus, one name echoed louder than the other: Papa Joe. His name wasn't just a name, it was a brand synonymous with street culture, with success, with the very idea of what a baller truly was. He operated with a quiet authority, a certain grace that made him stand out. He was a class act in many ways, a true hood celebrity. The Kingpin status, that was the ultimate goal, wasn't it? The pinnacle, a position many of us strive for, dreamed of, to reach that top tier, to be at the top of the food chain, to have that kind of influence. Papa Joe understood it. He embodied it. The money was good. The power was intoxicating, alluring beyond measure. But make no mistake, this ain't no fairy tale. The game is a beast. High risk, high reward. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And for a long time, Papa Joe walked that tight rope better than anyone. He understood the economics of the streets, the politics of respect, the ever-present shadow of consequences. There's always a price to pay when you're sitting at the top. Always a target on your back. Because the thing about success in this game is, it gets attention. And not all of it is admiring. When the feds come knocking, that's a whole new ball game. The rules change. The respect from the streets means nothing in a courtroom. You're a hood celebrity status, it turns into public enemy number one. The allure of the money, the power, the kingpin status, the fall. Because in the end, no matter how clever you are, how connected you are, the house always wins. And the price is always heavier than you ever imagined. Freedom. The crews of the 80s, the BMF phenomenon, Papa Joe, they all played their part in the tapestry of the streets. Lesson learned or ignored by every generation that follows. The game keeps playing, just with different faces in different cities. But the stakes remain the same. He drove the best. Lexus, Corvette, Mercedes, Range Rover. Papa Joe Williams rolled into Columbus, Ohio. He wasn't just visiting, he was taking up residence. In his world, Easton wasn't just a place to shop, it was where the money rested. And in Atlanta, that's where the ledger was minted, connecting deep into the city's hip-hop recording industry. Allegedly, Joe was a modern-day Robin Hood. 15 years ago, if you were a kid in Brittinay Hills, he was your role model. $1,000 tips to dancers, cleats and helmets, jerseys for pee-wee teams, helping parents keep the lights on and the rent paid. He had the money, the cars, the women. He traveled the country and he hung out with the famous. Joe Williams was untouchable. Since the late 90s, the name Papa Joe Williams was always on the board. He was the known commodity, the major distributor, but he was smart, too smart. We had the intelligence, but we could never get the paper. We could never get the charge. Joe Williams had relocated to Atlanta, thinking he was free. In the truth, the police struggled to build a case that only paved the way for something far bigger. January 2008, a new FBI agent in town sat down with Columbus PD, and they wanted a worthy target, the worst of the worst. According to the FBI agent, Joe Williams was an obvious choice. He had proven his resilience to local law enforcement. He had the contacts. The network stretched from coast to coast, funneling narcotics directly into Ohio. He represented systemic corruption that we needed to dismantle, not just disrupt. The investigation became a joint task force, Operation Wipeout. Every move Joe made, every car he drove, every apartment he rented, they were watching. The Robin Hood narrative was about to collide with federal reality. In the spring of 2009, a 99-page federal indictment was handed down. It effectively wiped out the organization. Papa Joe was charged with operating a continuing criminal enterprise, the so-called drug kingpin statute. As said by the federal agent, financial fear is a powerful motivator. When you're looking at a mandatory minimum sentence of life, down the road that Robin Hood generosity means nothing. They all started talking, everyone confessed, everyone pleaded guilty. One co-defendant summed it up perfectly. Once one starts to fall, everybody starts to fall.